and today we will talk about a new master program, Critical Media Studies, and how you can enroll in our program by participating in the Olympiad High League. And thank you very much for the interest of this program, which is new. It will open coming September. And I think that it is one of the most interesting new programs of the media department of our faculty. My name is Tatiana Tikhomirova, and I am a Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Communication, Media and Design of High School of Economics, and I am glad to introduce Panos Kompatsiaris, PhD, the Associated Professor of Media Department and Academic Supervisor of the program. And before we start to discuss how people can go through Olympiads and how they can prepare for that, Panos, please, could you please say a couple of words about the program, about what do you teach and what specialists do you raise?
So thank you very much, Tatiana, for the introduction. So I'm going to just say a few general things about the program and the particular focus of the program, as well as the aims and objectives that we want to pursue. So first of all, the program is in English, right, as you mentioned, but it is designed to address both Russian as well as international students who want, let's say, to achieve a better understanding of the ways that media institutions work, organize themselves, produce content, and how through this content they mediate our lives and societies, okay? So it is very important to say that we'll be encouraging a critical understanding of all these practices, rather than a simply applied or positivistic knowledge, if you want. So we're going to be critically reading how media messages impacts and shapes our worlds and visions, how to read media messages, how to read the political economy of media, and so on. And just to say that the focus of the program is very much on the contemporary moment. While, of course, historical analysis and historical material is going to be discussed, we're going to be focusing on the now, let's say. So a very important aspect of the program will have to do with how we use media. And of course, social media here is an obvious example. But at the same time, we're going to be looking at more traditional media like TV or radio broadcasting, the internet, applying a series of perspectives ranging from political economic perspectives, from sociology, from cultural studies. So we're going to have a strong focus on aspects around the industry, as well as how different representations of different social groups, let's say, occur, related to class, related to gender, to race, and so on. And the context, of course, we're in Russia, so there is a strong aspect on the Russian situation, but at the same time is very much international. So we're going to be having an international outlook, so discussing how media practice and institutions all around the world, and especially Europe and the States, function in this regard.
It is an explanation why the program is in English and also why we are talking English right now, since the studying and also the Olympiad and also the portfolio is supposed to bring for enrolling, everything supposed to be in English. That's okay, but you see, I have a feeling that, but did I understand right that the program is supposed to raise scientists mostly, I have a feeling that the practical, let us say, master programs are more popular. So where will graduates be able to work, let us say, beside the universities?
So, of course, there is a very strong emphasis on the scientific side of studying with this program. And we expect graduates to work in the academia, so we're going to be preparing people to have a PhD, both in Russian institutions if they prefer, but as well as abroad. So we're going to be encouraging international collaboration a lot. So we're going to be having different seminars, different events, different invited professors coming from abroad and teaching in English. So the obvious, let's say, career path for graduates would be to continue working in academia. And of course, this may answer also to your question why we have this program. We decided to have this program in English, and the answer is that there is around media studies and around the cultural studies and the political economy of media, there is a lot of literature that has not been translated, unfortunately, to Russian. So the available and let's say the most significant literature for people who want to have an international outlook of the media situation is in English. So that's why we're going to be encouraging people to read English literature. Of course, Russian language is it's a fantastic language, and I know it because I studied for 4 years as well. But the purpose here is to train students, to train graduates in the available English literature, which fortunately or unfortunately is provides the access, let's say, to this field of study today. And just to say, so apart from preparing people to have careers in academia, of course, people could apply their studies in working for media and cultural institutions, in the government sector, of course. So a critical understanding and familiarity of how media images and representations work could help possibly students take positions in related to content making, to consulting, to directing or to organizing media and cultural institutions. So apart from the academia, we hope that this kind of critical, interpretative and reflective skills that students will acquire from the program will be possible to apply in sectors outside of the
In a way, I agree with you very much, because maybe not all people really understood that the studies and the science is a little bit ahead of practice. And you know what? I heard on news today that even the Circus du Soleil presented their scientific unit, because they have a really great unit inside the whole structure, and they are also busy with different researchers. That's interesting. And you know what? It is important that students, I mean, I've got it, students and graduates be integrated into international scientific community. So how you are going to reach it?
So of course, as we said, one of the strong points, we hope at least, of this program is to have an international outlook. So what we're going to do is to encourage actually to make collaborations with specific universities around the world. So we're speaking with British universities, with Chinese universities, with universities in different universities in Europe, in order to create bonds that would materialize, I don't know, in student exchanges, in professor exchanges, in seminars, in inviting professors to teach particular courses here. Of course, we're going to be having, organizing as a department, different conferences and events in which, in English, in which students could participate and, of course, see how research is done abroad. Also having the opportunity to relate with professors or ask their advice or form some kind of communication. Of course, also, as with other programs, I guess, we are going to be giving the opportunity to students to spend semesters abroad in different universities, in the universities with which we will collaborating. So yes, the international outlook will be very crucial in the way we carry forward this program.
Okay, I think that in a way we have possibility to receive questions, and there are a couple of them already. So there is a question about what about condition to enroll the program? So what people have to do in order to get there?
All the guidelines, I guess, you can find them in our webpage. So there is a detailed list of the things that people need to submit in order to enter the program.
Yeah, actually, I opened the page, and we can ask our director to show it on the screen.
They will be needing a research statement where students will have to describe what are their research interests, what kind of methods they will be using in order to pursue these interests, possible topics that they are interested in exploring. So also they need to include some references, or the main references they will be using in order to do that. So this research statement intends to show some kind of familiarity with the field, right? We don't expect from people to write a master thesis. But just a several pages statement that makes us aware of the students, of the applicants' knowledge and background. Then, of course, people are gonna be submitting CVs. Also, there is a motivation letter, a CV, as well as so there is also an English exam that they will need to pass.
They don't.
They don't? Okay. That's good news then for them.
I can explain you why.
Yes.
Because in a way it's a little bit, let us say, it's a little bit silly to make an exam in English, because the person who would like to enter the program, it's his own risk. The program is full in English. It's not that it's in Russian, for example, and you have 1 or 2 disciplines in English. It's fully in English, and so you will not be able to understand even one word. So we think together with our enrolling commission and decide that it's just a little bit
and
too
I guess
much.
we can check the level of English language
in
the statement, the research statement.
So
no
yes.
English exam, that's good news.
So as other programs, this program have you need to pass the exam by portfolio, and all these papers which mentioned Panos, they supposed to be included in portfolio. And you can find the detailed information on the web page of the program, which is open on my computer, and maybe we can show it to you, maybe not. Here is it. So you can look through information. For example, there is a special information. You can open all these pages, and you can get the idea what you're supposed to put in your portfolio. Except beside the motivation letter and the project statement, you also can put some description of your experience, of your previous
all this should be
studies.
included in the CV.
Okay. And I think that that's a good time to talk a little bit about Olympiads, because I think that what was done and how it's designed, it's really great. Because the design of the Olympiads supposed to be very friendly for people in all regions and also abroad. You can write. The Olympiad consists of 2 parts. Am I right? Yes, and first part you're supposed to write
An
where
essay
you want. Yeah,
in
you're
English,
supposed to
yeah.
write the essay in English. And then if you manage to get 30 points, I mean the maximum degree is 60 points, but if you manage to get 30 points, you will be invited to the second round. But could you please tell a little bit about the essay, how it is organized, and how people can prepare for that?
So first of all, we're gonna be giving a topic, let's say, a question or an issue that students, applicants should write about. And then people would have 24 hours to complete this task. So this means that they have the opportunity to use resources from the internet. They have the opportunity to read and incorporate in this essay theoretical perspectives and articles they find online. They can be reading books, of course. So this means that there is an availability of resources. So this we did in order to give applicants, students, the possibility to really apply to see how they can apply some research and methodological perspectives within this time frame. Because otherwise, if we would give like 2 hours or 1 hour to write an essay, then it would be harder to judge, let's say, the critical and analytical thinking behind it. Now, what we're gonna be looking at when examining, let's say, this essay. So first is the argument and theoretical background. So this essay should have some kind of argument. So the students should be have an argument that kind of makes sense and is reflected in all pages of this essay. So connected with this argument, students should show familiarity with theoretical perspectives, so with theory. Of course, we don't expect, again, people to write a whole thesis or a PhD, but some familiarity with scholarly debates around the things that the students are exploring would be very useful. And also, we would expect, ideally, the students to advance a critical, in the broader sense, thesis to the issue at hand, rather than being affirmative or being just agreeing with what is given to them. Then we're going to be looking at the structure. So it's very important in academic writing that essays have a structure that makes sense. So starting, for example, with an introduction that introduces certain themes and concepts to the reader, then going on with the theory that the students will be using, moving on to the argument, and then in the end having some conclusion that kind of summarizes what has been said before. So it's important to have a clear structure that makes sense. And then we're going to be looking, so the last part we're going to be looking is the language and style. And by language, first we mean some kind of clarity, so language that displays some kind of clarity of thought, so not huge sentences, not like pompous statements. Avoiding as much as they can jargon, let's say, and convoluted phrases. And by style, we mean sticking to the to a certain academic reference style, whichever style students want. We encourage students to use the Harvard referring style, which uses in-text citations and with publication date and page number and then includes a short bibliography in the end. So these three aspects are going to be the key, let's say, points upon which we're going to be making our evaluation. In terms of preparation, there is, I think, a literature bibliography online, right?
Yes.
So people can be consulting these sources as well as sources. They can, of course, if they cannot find the specific books, they can be looking at sources that are available online and are connected to this book. So it's easy, for example, to find literature connected. For example, people can be looking at Google Scholar, resources like that. So I would say in terms of preparation, just to read things around media studies, things around representation, cultural studies perspective is important, political economy of media, and generally consult what is already in our webpage.
Yep, and some words about the procedure, I mean the mechanism of all this stuff, about how it will be organized. The first thing you have to do in order to participate in the Olympiad is to register yourself on the page of Olympiad, and this is on my screen. Yep. So you see, you have this big thing, registration. You just press and register it. It started on 2nd of December and it will go till 20th of January. So you have plenty of time to register yourself on the Olympiad page. And then and then when you be registered, you will get access to the demonstration version of Olympiad task. Because on the Olympiad task, we even put the example of the essay, so you can look through and you can get the idea how you will work with the theme, how you can put the reference and so on. So this is very important. And also to those who will be registered on the page of the program, you see this blue thing, and it stands, I want to enroll, хочу поступить. You can press it, and you can put your address, your email address, and we will put you on the list, and you will get regularly the, let us say, list of newest studies in media communication, and you will get also the list of the books which you can read and you can get access to. So it will be really very helpful. And the competition will take part in the period from 14th till 16th of February. So, and at the moment you will register yourself on the Olympiad page, you will also get the information when the competition will take place. And you can read it, you can write it everywhere. You can be in, for example, in a library, or you can sit at home. It depends on what you want, and you need only the access to the internet. And when you will finish after 24 hours, you're supposed to send your work to the address which will be stand in your task. So that's very easy. It's how the first round will be organized. And then, as I said before, if you get 30 points for that, you will be invited to the second round. And what will happen there?
So I think it's 30 points out of
Yep.
60, right? So then So people who would get more than 30 points for this first round are going to be invited to have a personal interview held in English, of course. For participants who are not based in Moscow, of course, we're gonna give them the opportunity to have the interview remotely, so that they don't spend time and resources to visit Moscow if they don't want. Of course, if they want, it's possible to come. So the interview will last no more than 20 minutes, and the maximum grade, again, we're going to be giving to the interview is 40 points. So that means that it's the overall grade that counts in the end. So from the first task, I added this maximum 40 points from the second task. And then the participants who will have the highest grade from these two tasks are going to be hopefully win a scholarship, right? So in this interview, again, the participants, the candidates are expected to demonstrate their knowledge in research and explain their motivation to study in this master's program. So it's important that they tell us why they chose this program and what they hope this program will give them in their following careers. And also how they would imagine they fit in the research environment of the program. So they will have to explain their future research plans to justify how the program will help them in the future. Again, people are not expected to present an academic paper, but we will, if there is some also as well on the originality of the themes that is discussed. So it's quite important for candidates to make up a kind of original thesis that they would like to pursue, original research plan. So the questions we're going to ask, of course, are going to be more or less general, so related to the past experience, as we said, the motivation to enter the program, the plans they have in the future, and so on. So imagine a typical interview, but with more emphasis on the research side.
And what about the assessment? What do you expect from people? The level?
The Olympiad, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Again, as we said before, we're going to be evaluating people according to the criteria that I discussed. We expect, of course, to see some advanced level of English language, because the program is going to be in English, so we expect that the written language of candidates will be good enough in order for them to be able to pursue their studies. We expect to see some kind of originality of thought, so people to be able to make their own independent, if you want, thoughts and have their own opinions about things. Of course, we don't encourage people to have unsubstantiated opinions, so we expect that these opinions are somehow backed by data or theory or literature discussion. And as we said, this is important to see, for us to see a kind of critical thinking. So not merely affirmative, as we said before, but a thinking that interrogates the question at hand.
There is another question: how many students do we expect on this program? Actually, right now we have 20 places, and actually it's a paid program. I mean, you're supposed to pay it, but High School of Economics gave us 10 scholarship, 100% scholarship, and we have also 10 places where you have to pay for your education. But I think that the price is pretty, I mean, it's not terrible. It's 370,000, am I right? In rubles. Yeah, so that's how you can calculate. And so I think that half of these scholarships will go for the Olympiads, I think, for the winners. So in a way, there is a great possibility to enter the program through Olympiads, because if you really work hard and if you get first degree diploma for that, you will receive 100% scholarship. And if you will get second and third diploma, so you will get not less than 70% scholarship for the whole period of education. I think that that's a very good possibility. But also the Olympiad is a great challenge, because it's really the way to yourself and and how you are manage in academic circle in this area. So I think that's a good possibility.
And also start from early on, right?
Yeah, that's
thinking
true.
about these questions and aspects.
Yeah, and and another thing also our viewers mentioned, that the prepare yourself for the Olympiad and for the for enrollment the program is winter school. We plan the winter school really for that, and I opened the page of winter school on my screen, so I our director to show it. There is the possibility, and you can also register yourself on this page. You see, it's winter school for university students, and you can see it's called Creative School, and you will find the Critical Media Studies School. Here we are. And it will take place on the 1st of February in Moscow, and you can register yourself for this school. And it will last for 1 day, but for the full day it will be Sunday. So in a way, we do not really limit the number of people. I mean, for sure, I don't think we can except, we can meet, let us say, several hundreds of people. I think that itself to bring as many as possible. So it will take place in Moscow in our new campus, just close to our place. It's very nice, very beautiful. So I think that it will be very interesting. Yes.
First, they're going to meet us, they're going to meet the professors, they're going to become more familiar with the themes we're going to be discussing. So apart from introducing the program, we're going to have some guest lectures speaking about the perspectives or about the general issues and the methods we're going to be looking at. So I think it would be very useful.
I think that just repeat a little bit. So there is a new program called Critical Media Studies in High School of Economics, and it is in English. And if you come to study, so you have a good chance to develop yourself into academic person, in scientist, interested in media communication in the whole world. And also how to prepare yourself, please come to our winter school and please take part in the Olympiads. So you have a possibility to to register yourself for winter school and for Olympiads right now. And actually, for sure, you can find our contact on the website, and we will be happy to answer your question. So I think that it's more or less the whole,
Yes.
I mean, all information. And I don't think that it's nice time. We are talking for 45 minutes. I mean, so I think if we do not have more question, then we can...
Yes, and people would be very happy to answer to questions. Interested students and candidates can just drop an email, and yeah.
Yeah.
Our emails are in the,
Yeah,
in the
okay.
website.
Thank you very much for your attention and for your interest in our program, and see you on winter school.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.